There's a congressional race in the 1st District of West Virginia that caught my attention. You've got two candidates, a patriot, a Republican named David McKinley, and then the typical lying liberal radical Democrat, and that would be Mike Oliverio. And I've asked Mr. McKinley to come on the program today. How are you, sir?
Just fine, and I'm honored to be on your show. I've listened to you for years, so it's an honor to be on this show.
Well, it's a great pleasure, sir. So I understand your opponent has taken a word or two or three out of my book, Liberty and Tyranny, put it on an ad to attack you. Do you want to explain some of the background here?
Well, I was, Mr. Levin, I was talking at a Tea Party rally on April 15th. They were celebrating the issue of what this government has done in its largesse, and we had a large rally, probably about 250 people in Morgantown, West Virginia, and I was invited to be the keynote speaker. And I was telling people that your book, Liberty and Tyranny, ought to be, in its conservative manifesto, I said this is a book that everyone in America should be reading. The fundamental core values that you talked about there are something that everyone ought to understand. And what they did was they clipped portions of it and used that in an advertisement, talking about destruction. It was a clear, devastating, negative ad that is, quite frankly, the pages they refer to, they're not even the words on it. It's just such a distortion, and it shows once again that I think not only in the 1st District of West Virginia, but from what I'm learning all over the country, that the Democrats, the liberal Democrats, are desperately throwing everything they can into this race, and they don't care if it's untrue.
Well, he's a big lefty, and he would support Obama down the line, and I'm sure he would deny that because this is an open seat. But government-run health care, Obamacare, I don't believe he would repeal it, and that's going to take over $500 billion out of Medicare. How does he respond to that?
Well, he said it's a good start. On Obamacare, he says it's a good start. And he has since found out that that's apparently not resonating, so now he's saying maybe we have to amend certain sections of it. No, I'm saying it is a huge takeover that should be repealed and replaced. Replace it with something that is a bipartisan effort that has opportunities for us to have businesses and people to be able to get insurance across state lines. It includes tort reform. It should include personal accountability on rates. A series of matters that pre-existing conditions should be in there. But this particular piece of legislation was flawed, and it had no business being passed, not the way that it did. So he's got an odd position on that. As far as Obama. Well,
let me just intervene for let me.
He's going to have to support Nancy Pelosi to be the speaker,
yes,
and that's wrong for America.
Let me just say a couple of quick things. First of all, whatever my views are on Medicare and Social Security, the fact of the matter is nowhere in this book do I say that they ought to cut over $500 billion from Medicare. I have my own views on how Medicare should be transitioned, where younger people are not required to pay into it, but people who are actually on Medicare today and rely on it, and we're told to rely on it, we're given promises. Even Barry Goldwater said you can't cut those people off. And yet, Mr. Oliverio and his party and his president have done exactly that, to the tune of over $500 million. So I don't know where he gets away with this stuff. Let me ask you this question. What's your website?
Our website for our campaign is McKinley2010.com. And we want so much of people, www.McKinley2010.com. The problem that we're dealing with this is the fact that the DCCC, the Democrat arm of his campaign, now has just, because he now knows he's in a real dogfight in this campaign, they've just pumped $350,000 more into his advertising. This ad that talks about the issues in your book is in excess of $100,000 buy that they did for this week to run that. And I need to counter it. I'm trying to get back to figure out how we're going to get some balance here in response, because quite frankly, I think all across America, people are tired of these lies that are coming out from these people.
Well, you need money, and you need money to counter it, and the counter, in my humble opinion, should be Mr. Oliverio would support cutting over $500 billion out of Medicare for Medicare recipients who are currently receiving Medicare support. Now, sir, let me tell my audience this. This is a particularly important race to me for reasons you just heard, but also it's quite winnable. West Virginia is in play. All the congressional districts, the Senate seats in play. You hear David McKinley. He's a citizen. He's a very thoughtful man, and he wants to repeal government-run health care. It's McKinley, McKinley, 2010.com. Mr. Producer, let's put it on the social sites and my website, okay? Now, Mr. McKinley, kick this guy's ass, because this guy is, what he's basically saying is we're not even allowed to talk about these programs. And you'll notice in the book I quote David Walker, who was the former comptroller of the United States, who's saying we are in dire straits. The trustees of Social Security has said we're in dire straits. And this guy, Oliverio, what does he do? He makes it worse. They have a massive new entitlement program. They're going to drain money out of Medicare in order to subsidize Medicaid. So it seems to me he ought to be the one on his heels, not you. Thank you very much. You said it perfectly. This race, if I could add it, when McCain ran, McCain beat Obama in this district by 16 points. This district can very well, you said it very appropriately, this district is ready to go Republican, and we're one of the targeted races that the Republican Party, we're a young gun on this, one of the 40 races that they're trying to make magic happen in Washington to bring the Republican Party back into control. And I think this time the boys have learned their lesson over there. And this is time that we provide those conservative values. We work with our heart as well as our mind to bring America back. All right, my friend. Good luck to you, and God bless you. God bless you. All right. Once again, folks, McKinley2010.com. Please take a look.